darlings, today I'm going to talk about a book that I recently read called On Her Knees, a memoir of a prayerful Jezebel by Brenda Marie Davies. So I heard about this book because Brenda has a channel on YouTube called God is Great. What is my hair doing? Just bloop. That's fun. Just ignore that. And I found this channel back when I was trying to see if I was all alone because I felt alone, and wondering about different things of Christianity, because there were parts that I loved and there were parts that I loathed to the very deepest parts of me, and I thought they had to go hand in hand, and I was very confused because I'm like, God or like my sexuality and things like that. I didn't know that you could love God and not hate like being queer. Not that I hated being queer, but I digress. I am really tired. So anyway, yes, I found her channel and it's been hugely affirming, because she grew up also in purity culture and it was very damaging for her, just like it was damaging for me. And she has a lot of really interesting and neat interviews with people and shares about her life on her channel and about other stuff going on. Sometimes she'll critique different sermons that are out there. And like I said, it was just very affirming. And I was like, wow, I don't have to be alone. And she has this very beautiful faith. And so when she was talking about her book, I was like, I need to get this. So as soon as I was able to, I got it on Audible, because I don't tend to read books particularly often. I'm usually pretty busy, but I own my own other business, so I'm able to listen to books to my heart's content, generally speaking. So I listened to it, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit and recommend it. I definitely had a good time. I enjoyed listening to it. There were parts that were difficult, just because of hearing what she went through. And it was interesting in that we both kind of grew up in purity culture, but her family was different than mine was. Her family was sex silent, so they didn't necessarily say don't do it, but they were just like didn't talk about it whatsoever. Whereas my family very much was like, don't do it. If there was like kissing on the TV, like we're watching TV or they'd be like, oh, don't do that, because it was always like, oh, it might lead to sex, so don't you fool around. And so I got that message kind of on both fronts. But yeah, so she talked about how that impacted her growing up in the church and having these people tell her, like, God will be sad. You'll make God cry if you're sexual before marriage, if you have any sort of sexy thoughts, if it's even on your mind, like you'll make God sad. And she wanted to make God and Jesus happy with like every part of her. So she was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. But, she has this, wildness inside that so many people do, of wanting to explore sex and sensuality and all of that. And, it seemed like it was very stifling for her to have to be like, but I'm not supposed to. And then she talked about her marriage and how that was definitely a wee bit tricky. I don't really know how much to go into the book, because I don't want to like do spoilers, I guess, but it was just interesting, enlightening journey through her life. And like I said, it was neat to see kind of some parallels in how she was raised. There's definitely a lot of stuff where I was like, I cannot relate to that whatsoever. So it was fun seeing how things were for her. Like, she's a model and lives in LA, was it? Somewhere fancy. I live not anywhere fancy whatsoever, like very backwards sort of area. And so if she talked about like that stuff, I was like, no idea what that is like. The book definitely almost made me cry. It would have made me cry if I was alone. I was out and about, and there were a couple parts in the book where I was just like trying so hard not to cry. There's a part about her Bunny Monroe. Very much had many almost tears for Monroe. And then another part where she dealt with something very personal and difficult. And I was just like sledgehammer to the heart on that. And I also commend her for opening up, because she does share a ton of stuff that's very, very personal. So she gets really, really vulnerable. And to me, that is always a beautiful thing, because I think so many of us are trying to put our best side foot for, I don't know, our best selves forward. And a lot of times we try to hide our pain and our struggles. And so for anyone to put that out there, I think is so beautiful and awesome. And so I thank her for that. And I thank her for her channel, because it's been, like I said, very helpful to me and hopefully very helpful to other people. I also thought it was really interesting because the foreword of her book was done by Joshua Harris. I believe that's his name, who wrote I Kiss Dating Goodbye, which is a huge part of the purity movement. And many people credit him for causing a lot of harm to their sexuality. And one of the things, either he said it in the book or he said it on an interview that she did on her channel, was that he was kind of, I can't remember the specific words, something along the lines of like he was in awe or almost even disturbed by how beautiful her faith is, that she could be so hurt by the church and yet have this profound love of Jesus still. And I think that is super commendable. Because I know I've known a lot of people who have been really hurt by religion and they're just like, bye. And I don't blame them. So, yeah, I also think it's beautiful that she's still kept with that love of God and love of Jesus. So it's lovely. It is. I feel like this did not make a ton of sense. Very rambly. My hair is doing a swoopy swoop. But that's okay. That's okay. So thank you to Brenda for her book. Oh, I was also going to say, she narrates her own book as a narrator who narrates her own books. I thought she did a great job, and I always enjoy listening to how people do when they're narrating their own books. And so good job to her. I feel weird saying that. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to be done now. Okay, bye.